So this question actually came directly from you all in the comments, and I wish I could remember who had asked it or what video it was on. Or I try to respond as many as I can, but some days it's an impossible ocean to swim across. But this question came in. I thought it was a good one, and that is practice better than taking gigs? And that raised an interesting, train of thought for me. You know, I have my own thoughts on things, but sometimes you don't realize what they are until you go back and you think through them. And so I started trying to think through them from the lens of a player and having played professionally and what has helped and what has not helped. So whenever I first started learning the drums, I got my drum kit, and within the first week, I played my first gig. I mean, I could not hold a beat to save my life, but I had, there was a need at a local church, and the piano player was a very strong rhythmic player, and he said, just follow me, you'll be fine. And he began to take me under his wing and really show me the ropes of what it is to be a musician. So from my earliest recollection on the drum kit, I have been playing gigs, whether they be for free or for paid. I started getting paid to play gigs when I was 16. So I'm of the mindset that practice is important, but the reason we are practicing is to play gigs, is to play out, it's to play music. Now, maybe for you, a gig is turning on your favorite band and playing through their album. That's okay. But what I found gigs allowed me to do, or playing shows allowed me to do, was find the weak areas in my playing and be able to pinpoint those in my practice time. So what I did was I used the gig to inform my practice time. And so whenever I went back to practice, I wouldn't be practicing mindless licks. I would be practicing something going, okay, I had trouble transitioning from this section to this section. What was the issue there? Why do I speed up every time I go to the ride cymbal? These were the things I was thinking about, instead of like, I wonder if I could play this, sextuck, quintuplet, triplet feel on top of, that didn't even come into my mind. All I was trying to do was get better at playing the music. And I think that was a good thing for me. So in my mind, neither is better, but I think as early as you can start taking gigs, free, paid, the better. And I think it's very important that you use them to inform your practice time. And what they'll help you do is they'll help you keep your practice time focused on the music, instead of getting sidetracked by all of the things we as drummers get sidetracked on. Instead, you'll be focused on, no, this is very much what the gig is about. And let me give you, for instance, so I started getting paid to play the drums when I was 16, taking stage shows. Little Shop of Horrors was my first one. And then from there, I mean, by the time I got into high school, I had played tons of them. I had already been paid to play with the Mississippi Symphony Orchestra on several of their pops things. I was doing the thing, and I wasn't even 18. By the time I was 19, I got a full-time gig in New Orleans playing on Bourbon Street, and some of you know that story. I played down there 3 years as the house drummer for several clubs, John Wayner's famous store on the corner of Conti and Bourbon, and then down the street at BBC, Bourbon Street Blues Company. Great experience. So I came back. I had gone to 3 semesters of college at University of Southern Mississippi. I was a jazz studies major. So when I came back, I remember having a discussion with several professors, because I had a very real look at what the gigging world needed me to do. And so whenever I came back to school, I would very quickly tell them if this is something I was going to spend a lot of time on, or if it was something that I was going to do because they asked me to do, and then I was going to move on to things that I felt were more applicable to the gigging environment. See, whenever you become a professional musician, whenever you start doing this full time, you spend a lot of your time not practicing what you want to practice. You spend a lot of your time learning shows. Let's say I know of a player right now, and he's subbing in, and he's playing 15, 20,000 person venues, and he's a sub. At that point, your practice time becomes about nothing but making those transitions smooth, working with the band, making sure you're catching cues, making sure you're playing these songs. And guess what? The songs aren't that hard. But the circumstances surrounding your show are very, very hard. So you spend all of your practice time focused on that. So I think it was great that I began to get out at an early age, thinking back on it now. I wasn't thinking then. I was just like, yeah, heck yeah, let's go play. And so I think looking back, it was very detrimental to my growth that I began taking gigs and getting out and playing in different places so that it could inform my practice and I didn't become this basement dweller where I just was pulling out all my licks all the time. I didn't do that a lot. I grew past that much quicker than I feel I would have if I wasn't taking those gigs. So is it more important than practice? I can't say that because we all need to practice. But is it detrimental to your growth? Yeah, I think so. And I think as soon as you can, you should start taking some gigs, obviously within good taste, within your reach. And I think you should start pushing yourself and then using that to take mental notes and inform your practice time. To me, that's how you're going to see the most growth.